From County Stadium in Milwaukee, two young teams on the rise. The Atlanta Falcons meet the Green Bay Packers. And welcome to Miami North. It is 76 degrees in Milwaukee, Wisconsin today. A great day for football, but more like summer weather. Hello, everybody. I'm Tim Ryan, and what an afternoon it is here on this first day of October. Two young teams with 1-2 records, and one in particular, the Green Bay Packers, that has really been a very entertaining team through the first 3 games of the season, both with high hopes for the rest of the year. Joining me on the commentary, former Pro Bowler and Super Bowler from the 49ers, Randy Cross. Randy, these Green Bay Packers last week in their comeback effort against the Rams, a very explosive offensive display.
Well, definitely. They have a quarterback in Don Majkowski who's coming off back-to-back 300-yard passing games. Brent Fullwood at running back is having a great year so far, and they finally have a game breaker in Sterling Sharp. But the Packer defense, led by Brian Noble and Tim Harris, has been struggling, but I think with the Atlanta offense, they've got an opportunity to really stifle somebody.
Well, like the Packers, the Falcons have an exciting young quarterback in Chris Miller, but he's out today with an injury, and that leaves it up to the untested Hugh Millen.
Hugh Millen gets his first start today, but I don't think all the pressure should be on him. The offensive line for the Atlanta Falcons, which is pretty much makeshift, has to have a better day. And running back John Settles, a Pro Bowler, has to really shine because he can't put Hugh Millen in long passing yardage every time.
Well, the Falcons will find out early about Hugh Millen because they'll have the ball first. Chris Jackie will kick it off for the Green Bay Packers. And the deep man for Atlanta, there is Deion Sanders, along with Keith Jones and George Thomas. Well, it's just going to be Jones back deep. Sometimes they have 3 across there. They have 2, and the deep man is Sanders. Sanders from the 1-yard line. Out to the 20. Met there by Scott Stephen, the linebacker, number 54. So Hugh Millen making his first NFL start. He cleaned up last week after Miller went out against Indianapolis and was 3 for 7. His offensive line has been through some problems with holdouts and injuries. Stan Clayton replacing Tommy Robinson at left guard. Duke Spralick, Houston Huber, and Brad Beckman for the injured Ron Heller. And Heller will be in the lineup. Lang and Settles with Collins, Michael Haynes, the wide receiver. Stacey Bailey is their third down wide receiver. Settle on first down and met in the backfield by 4 Packers, led by Mark Murphy, the strong safety. A loss on the play. Defensively for the Packers, Brown, Nelson, and Patterson in their base 3-4 defense. Linebacking core, Anderson, Brian Noble, Johnny Holland, and Harris. You heard Randy Cross talk about the importance of Noble and Harris to that defense. Jakes, Brown on the corners, Stills and Murphy the safeties. You'll see Mark Lee, Tiger Green, and Ron Pitts all involved in the nickel packages defensively for Green Bay. Second down and about 14. First pass from Millen. His receiver slipped down on him. Gene Lang out of the backfield, number 33. So it'll bring up third down. Now Hugh Millen, his career marks, he's only thrown 39 passes as an NFLer, Randy, and we mentioned 3 of 7 last week, including a critical interception late in the game that might have given Atlanta victory over the Colts.
Well, I think what we've seen, Mary Campbell here has been forced to go with an inexperienced quarterback. Green Bay is going to play 8 people up close, try to stop the run, and make Hugh Millen pass.
Lee and Green are in the secondary for Green Bay. Good try for Millen, has his man. That is Jones out of the backfield. And depending on the spot, looks like he may wind up with a first down. A little pushing and shoving at the end of the play. Keith Jones, the rookie from Illinois. Ken Stills involved in the extracurricular stuff, and Ken Stills has been known to get a little fired up before.
Jones is out on the left side in the slot, but what we're going to see here is some good pass protection by the Atlanta Falcon line, and a nice safe pass by Hugh Millen, who relies on Keith Jones's athletic ability, who fights and twists and turns and just dives in. In this situation, it's up to the referee to decide where exactly Keith Jones landed there, and it was a great effort by Keith Jones.
So it is a first down Atlanta, just over the 30-yard line. Falcons to our left in white, the Green Bay Packers to our right in green, just underway at County Stadium in Milwaukee. Good catch over there as the receiver slipped down. Sean Collins lost his balance, regained it, and stretched out to make the grab. Nearly a 10-yard pickup for the rookie from Northern Arizona.
You mentioned time and time again, people slip, it ruins the timing. Doesn't matter. Collins slips. He's got the size. Look at the length of those arms. He reaches out. Very nice catch. That's a good job. The concentration by the receiver there is what really important. That's what puts a wide receiver that's normal besides a great one.
Second and a yard, and they pick it up with Gene Lang. Another Falcons first down, running out the left side behind Clayton and Ken. So first down, Atlanta.
Lang carries for the first down.
This kind of a drive for the Atlanta Falcons has come in handy because Hugh Campbell knows he's got to, Marion Campbell knows he's got to control the ground game. He's got to get that clock working in his favor, and giving a guy like Hugh Campbell, Hugh Millen, this kind of protection is going to make a big difference.
Well, Millen is a guy who seems to be confident and grateful for the opportunity, and he's off to a good start, but it's early in, and that one nearly picked off. Brian Noble got a hand on it, intended for Collins, the rookie who had just made the fine diving catch moments ago. Second and 10.
Ball resting on the 42.
Hugh Millen, second-year man out of Washington, signed as a free agent last year after he was cut by the Rams.
And he forces this pass in. You see the two Falcon guys almost run into each other. There's 1, 2, 3 Packers. Bam! Almost ran into a collision there. Noble, great try at a catch, but there were 4 Packers in that area and only 1 receiver for Atlanta.
Hugh Millen stands 6'5", and that is obviously an advantage in seeing downfield. And this time he hits his man Beckman, the tight end, number 83. Beckman, we mentioned, getting the start for the injured Ron Heller. Heller is in the lineup. An ankle injury suffered last week against Indianapolis. They thought he might be out 3 or 4 weeks, but he is expected to see some action. Beckman, meanwhile, a Plan B free agent, picked up from the New York Giants out of Nebraska, Omaha. There's Ron Heller, number 80, and you know he'll be standing over the coaching staff hoping to get himself in there. Michael Haynes, Sean Collins, and Stacy Bailey in a 3 wide receiver set now for Atlanta on third down. Millen can't find anybody, goes to Settle, a release man, and Settle gets a couple, breaks loose, and has the first down. No, it's been whistled dead. Settle is going to the goal line into the end zone, but it was whistled dead, back up short of the required 10-yard marker inside the Packer side of the 50, and an injured Packer down on the play is Mark Lee. Let's see where they are going to spot this ball. There's a discussion going on with the referee Dick Hantak and the well, they're going to call it a 9-yard gain and a first down, evidently.
Hugh Millen shows a lot of poise here. He stands in against the pass rush. The pocket is starting to collapse around him. They're doing a good job at him. They just come in, get him at the end.
There's a first down on the play.
But John Settle is a fighter, a twister. Look how strong he is. It's hard to really pick out a time there, though, where he was definitely stopped in the grasp and control of the defense. He's twisting. Is he stopped? Is somebody got him right here that where you could call that a stop? Yeah, that's a gray area. I don't believe they ever stopped John Settle.
No, what they said was an inadvertent whistle was an announcement made by the public address system here. But it's a first down, Atlanta. And Kenny Flowers on his first carry, third-year man from Clemson, coming off knee surgery, picks up 3 yards. It'll leave 2nd and 7.
Marion Campbell was happy seeing Kenny Flowers coming back. He says he's really a guy you got to root for. Hard worker, spent every day in the training room in the offseason, and as serious as his knee injury was, he should have been out a lot longer.
Haynes out to the right, Collins out to the left. 2 exciting young receivers for this Atlanta team. Collins, the rookie from Northern Arizona. Haynes, teammate at Northern Arizona in his 2nd year, and that's Haynes with a first down catch inside the 35-yard line to the 33. It is Van Jakes on the coverage, number 24.
These are the perfect kind of passes to have Hugh Millen throwing at this point of the game. Gives him a lot of confidence, and it really keeps him out of a lot of trouble. He can't throw into too many bad defenses when you're throwing 7 to 8 yard outs every time.
So Millen is 5 of 7. 45 yards, working the short passes effectively so far. Settle and Keith Jones, the running backs now. To Settle, dashing straight ahead for a gain of about 5.
Settle reminds one almost of William Andrews, who was here for quite a few years with the Atlanta Falcons. He's not a real flashy running back. Loves to go straight ahead, and there isn't a hole there. He can make one, but these guys in front of him are right now making some pretty good holes for him.
They leave 2nd and 6 at the 29-yard line of Green Bay. Settle, a big story. He's a free agent out of Appalachian State. 1,000-yard rusher, made the Pro Bowl. Up and down, flag on the play as Millen with Harris in pursuit. The play whistled dead. Big Tim Harris, number 97.
Number 79, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Bill Fralick charged with the false start, number 79, the right guard. Interestingly, Tony Mandarich, who will be seeing some action offensively for Green Bay today, said that Fralick was his idol when he was in college. There's Mandarich, an eager guy who got in for a few plays last week against Los Angeles. And he said Fralick was a guy that he looked up to because he played the offensive line like a defensive player. Randy, you can relate to that.
Well, I think they're very similar coming into the league. Both of them great run blockers. Fralick had a lot of trouble his first 2 years in the league learning how to pass block. Mandarich is running into the same problems, but they're both very aggressive guys.
2nd and 11 for Atlanta. Complete to Beckman. Didn't get much. No, it's out of bounds. It'll be an incompletion. John Anderson had the coverage on him. He'd only picked up a couple of yards as it was. Meanwhile, Millen took a little shot from the Packer rush. Flag down on that play. An incompletion with Beckman out of bounds, but a flag down on the far side of the field. No score, early going. County Stadium, Milwaukee, on a brilliant sunny fall afternoon.
5 yards, repeat 2nd down.
Another illegal motion penalty this time against Atlanta. It'll leave it 2nd and 16.
Those kind of mistakes are the things that have been plaguing Atlanta all year. Now here, wide receivers are guys that are known for their quick, fancy footwork. Were both feet in after he caught it.
On the Packer 39.
No,
good call. Well outside. A wide receiver would drag his feet. A tight end's happy to get him in at all.
No, he had some early action again here. Flags fly. And Boyarski in on the nose for the Packers, number 61. Looked like he jumped a little early.
Encroachment, defense, number 61. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
And so Boyarski called for encroachment. And they get the 5 yards back that the Falcons just lost. Lindy Infante happy with the effort of his team last week in making such a great comeback, but unhappy with the first half they played that put him in such a hole.
Well, they're yet to play a whole game. That's what the point he made yesterday when we talked to him.
Haynes comes out to the right. Keith Jones out of the backfield goes wide left. Millen up the middle. He's got Collins. Collins inside the 10-yard line, and Hugh Millen delivered right on a rope to the rookie from Northern Arizona. First down and goal. A 28-yard gain.
At Collins' size, you put him in a slot like this. Dave Brown's trying to cover number 32 there, man-to-man. He comes out and just cuts across. Great pass by Hugh Millen. Look how big this guy is compared to these defensive backs. They have to sort of gang up on him, try to strip the ball, and finally throw him to the ground. You know, this offense is really executing well. This is a good example. Green Bay is not fired up early in the game.
Millen, meanwhile, 6 of 8, and Settle batters his way to the 5-yard line. Now, the Falcons, unlike the Packers, in the first 3 games have not been nearly as effective inside the 20-yard line, the so-called red zone, Randy.
That's true. I mean, the Falcons, 25%. That's the worst in the NFL. Very, very important to scoring inside the 20. I mean, you get in there, you have got to get points, because from a psychological standpoint, having that much success down the field, you don't get points. It can really be a pressure.
Well, it would be a pressure for Hugh Millen, who's been directing this route effectively. Settle picks up 2 more. Met by a tough Packer defensive move. Johnny Holland led the charge. Right behind him was Van Jakes and Tim Harris. It'll leave 3rd and goal. They'll spot it inside the 4, just outside the 3-yard line.
Look at Settle. He's talking to his offensive lineman going, come on, guys, you're doing great. That's fantastic. Here's a great running back to have in this type of a situation. You don't have to worry about John Settle making quick little fancy moves and trying to find a hole. If there isn't something there for him, the heck with it. He's going to make a hole.
Settle, a 215-pounder at just 5'9". Millen gets time. Touchdown to Beckman. Flags are down in the end zone, but I believe that's for the little extra display of joy as the Falcons, the touchdown will count. And we just pointed out they haven't done too well inside that red zone. And this time they knocked it in there in a couple of plays, so they celebrated, and it'll cost them. But not on the scoreboard.
That's right. Yeah, I think Brad Beckman kind of goofed his spike up, and everybody felt bad enough. Somebody picked it up and spiked it for him. You can't do that.
Let's see it again.
Here we are again from the ground level. You're just going to see Beckman go out of your screen. He was that tight end there. Millen sees he's wide open and just dumps it to him. That has to be a blown coverage, because either a strong safety or a linebacker has got to account for the tight end in the goal line offense.
McFadden for the point after, and he barefoots it through. Scott Campbell holding. And the Falcons on their opening drive, impressive. 15 plays for the score, and they lead 7-0. Well, you're looking there at Chris Miller. You had a chance to talk to him before the game, Randy. He wanted to play today.
He really did. You know, everybody, when he got hurt last weekend, they said, oh, he'll be out 3 to 6 weeks. They don't know if it's cracked ribs or whatnot. He is throwing the ball. See him grab it there and rub it. That hurts. He bruised the rib up high, but he could play today. It's a great decision, I believe, on the case of Marion Campbell. It's a bit of a gamble, but you don't want to lose this guy at this point of the season for 6 weeks. He is the key to your offense. It's very smart. It is a gamble, but I think it's a smart gamble.
Well, look at this opening drive by Hugh Millen. 80 yards, 15 plays, using up 7:25 on the clock. All 3 of those figures are impressive and important for the Atlanta Falcons. And most important, they got it into the end zone. 3-yard touchdown to Beckman. Frank Fullwood for the Packers. Good return to the 27-yard line, and they'll have the ball for the first time. For an NFL update, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
All right, Tim, the Saints have come back on the Redskins with this touchdown from Hebert to Lonzell Hill, 11 yards. It is now 7-3. To update the Jet story, Eric Dickerson is playing for the Colts. Let's go back to Tim.
All right, Brent, thank you very much. And I'm sure it's hard for you to believe the weather we've got here. I understand the weather's nice in New York today, but for October 1st in Milwaukee, with the trees starting to turn lovely shades of russet, we have got temperatures in the high 70s here today. Packers' first offensive possession. Fullwood to about the 32-yard line. And that'll be a gain of close to 5 yards for Fullwood. Their #1 pick in 1987. And their offensive front, Rutgers, Moran, Blair Bush, Ron Hallstrom, Alan Weingrad. Ed West, playing with a sore knee, injured in practice, has missed a couple of days this week. Woodside and Fullwood, the running backs. Kemp and Sharp at wide receiver. Bland and Query are the men they use in their 3 and 4 wide receiver sets.
Ball resting on the 33.
2nd and 5, Packers. Mikowski, 2 300-yard days in a row, but 1-1 in terms of the win-loss marks. A win over New Orleans and a comeback, a loss to the Rams, and a near victory. Fullwood again, stopped by Andre Bruce. It'll leave 3rd and a long yard. Defensively for Atlanta, Gann, Casillas, and Ben Thomas, and they'll bring in Marcus Cotton on passing downs. And Bruce, Rady, Tuggle, and Green. Green you'll sometimes see as a down lineman as well. And Butler and Case, Gordon and Cooper, and the nickelbacks are Dimry, Moore, and Shelley. And Tony Mandarich makes his first appearance of the afternoon earlier than last week, his debut against the Rams. Loose ball. Makowski diving to try and recover it. Let's wait and see. Problem with the exchange from Bush. And the Packers have maintained possession. Might have been Bush who came up with it, if not Makowski. Well, Randy, your speculation as an expert in that category, what might have happened there between these guys? They've been playing together long enough.
Well, it's generally the case, it's a quarterback's fault. Of course, that's what the center going to say. Center's here in the middle of the screen. I think Blair Bush might have gotten away a little fast, and Don Makowski just didn't follow his tail as he went away. The big thing here is, does he get the first down?
Well, they're measuring now, and they have it. So sometimes he has snapped the ball up properly, but he's starting to make his drive block real quick, and the quarterback isn't with him. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you get in short yardage and goal line situations, everybody's more aggressive. Even the center is in a lower, quicker stance, and he tends to get away from the quarterback a lot faster than normal, and it's something the quarterback generally has to compensate for. And if he's not always concentrating on that little thing, and God knows that's the last thing the quarterback really needs to worry about, is the center going away from him with the coverages and everything else, but it's just sometimes slips the quarterback's mind.
Well, for the Packers, they maintained possession and got the first down. Complete to Kemp. A pickup of about 7 on the play. Perry Kemp, number 81. Bobby Butler made the tackle, number 23. Well, looking at some other scores, New Orleans on top of Washington 7-3 in the first. And this looks like a hockey score here. Houston 2-zip over Miami. And Detroit in another hockey game or baseball game. Up a field goal on Pittsburgh. Second down, a long 3. Tight end West in motion. Forward. Maybe short of the first down. Good defensive reaction by the right side of the defense, and Tony Casillas, who's off to a great start, number 75 on the nose, making the stop. Those numbers by Makowski are impressive indeed, although he would like to erase the 4 interceptions, which were costly last week.
What's curious, Tim, is his touchdowns are all in the second half and his interceptions are all in the first. Here's Tony Casillas, number 75. You know, he's always been a base 3-4 nose guard. Marion Campbell last year late in the season decided to go to a new defense. It's given Tony Casillas a lot more room, and he's starting to really play well.
Third and about a football, and they've got Campen out at tight end as an extra blocker, the Packers do. Fullwood dives and has the first down. Literally diving into Atlanta territory. Over the 50 to the 48.
Well, if we get in the Olympics and they have the old vaulting event, I think Brent Fullwood might not do too bad at this. You see the offensive defensive lines end up just sort of rooting together there. You've got a ramp for him to jump off of, and he launches himself off the backs of the guys in front of him. Good job by Brent Fullwood. He's really come into his own because he's learned this offense. He's much more comfortable within the offense, and he doesn't have to think what Brent Fullwood's supposed to do. He just reacts.
He may have left a few boot marks on his teammates on that one. First down, 48 of Atlanta. Driving his way for another Green Bay first down. Cooper and Butler both got a hit on him after about 9 yards. And Kemp was not a big guy, showed a good effort there. 170-pounder, got the first down.
This Atlanta defense, even from back in the days when Jerry Glanville was here, has always been known as an aggressive, hard-hitting defense. And Bobby Butler holds him up. And the final hit is applied right there very aggressively, as a matter of fact.
11-yard gain. Green Bay came out with 3 backs stacked. A new look here offensively. Fullwood taken down from behind by Mike Gann, the 5-year man from Notre Dame. A gain of maybe 2 on the play for Brent. Fullwood had a good game against the Rams last week. In fact, he's had a good early season through the first 3 games. Much more comfortable in the Infante system and running hard every play.
And Lindy Infante's showing the the Falcon defense a few different formations. He feels that if he gives them these different formations, he can make them play a certain defense.
We'll see whether that's effective. He has shown a couple of different looks here in this first series. We'll talk more about the role of Tim Green defensively. That's the guy that they want to keep an eye out for. And there, Green just went by Mikowski. Mikowski went by him. Slides in for the Packers first down at the 25-yard line.
Don Mikowski is a fiery type of leader for this Green Bay Packers, and he loves to sort of have a little contact early in the game. Pass protection breaks down. He just jumps over his defense. Here's blockers who are on the ground. He lets it go. You know, John Rady, number 59 of the Falcons, says Mikowski will run and he'll stick his head in there. He's not a slider. John, you lied to us. He'll slide.
he certainly went for the slide when he had that first down already locked up.
First down.
And Tim Green had a good shot at him in the backfield, and Mikowski made a nifty move to get away. Packer first down. Fullwood picks up 5. Rady on the tackle, number 59, inside linebacker. Full house at County Stadium. A sellout here as we see some other scores. Kansas City on top of Cincinnati, a field goal. And New England up by 3 over Buffalo early going. Jets leading Indianapolis. So the Packers, like the Falcons, having a good opening drive. Time winding down first quarter. Atlanta leading 7-0, but the Packers driving at the Atlanta 20. Sterling shot. Wide receiver screen did not really develop. He was dropped by Scott Case, who gets up a little slowly, but Case made a good defensive play. Sharp never did get the blocking over there. Coming to the end of the first period. And so at the end of one at County Stadium, Atlanta leads Green Bay 7-0.
What we're going to see here is almost a screen pass, but no lineman going to get out. Keith Woodside, number 33, after the ball is snapped, is going to come out and try to kick out on the cornerback. As Mikowski throws the pass out here, he's trying to get to that cornerback so that the wide receiver can go back upfield. The timing wasn't quite right. That didn't click. If it had, he could have broke a long ways upfield.
Looked like Woodside, as you described that replay, was starting to pick up a pass rusher before he came outside. So the timing and the execution on that one didn't work, but the Packers still have a 3rd and 3 inside the 20 at the 18 of Atlanta. This is the opening offensive series for Green Bay. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross as we begin the second quarter. Incomplete. Ball touched the ground there as Cooper tried to take it downfield. It was intended for Jeff Query, the rookie from Millikan University in Illinois. Now, I know some of you folks down in Decatur who saw the game last week said, hey, he said that college of ours is in Wisconsin. Well, it's not. It is in Decatur, Illinois. About 1,600 students there. Jeff Query coming out of a Division III school to make it into the NFL. And he is an exciting young rookie, but they didn't connect that time. And so it'll be a field goal try by Chris Jackie from the 25, a 35-yard attempt. And he's got it. So the Packers are on the scoreboard. Chris Jackie from 35 yards away makes it Atlanta 7, the Packers 3. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross on a brilliant sunny afternoon in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Atlanta Falcons lead the Packers 7-3, each team scoring on their first offensive possession and really using up some clock time. The Packers just went 54 yards in 13 plays, using up 7:42 on the clock. Chris Jackie will kick it off. Just connected on a 35-yard field goal. Sanders from the 10-yard line. Deion Sanders, man who calls himself prime time. And he's hauled down at the 22-yard line by Mike Weddington, who didn't read his press credentials, evidently.
Here we have something that's a little unusual. Both teams on the same sideline. Got one side empty because the seats are so low on the far side of the field. They just put both teams on the far side. The last stadium to do this was the old Met in Minneapolis.
Well, here at County Stadium, they can look down and see each other on the same side instead of opposite sides. That's an obstruction problem for some of the fans if they have them on opposite sides. Well, you can see second quarter, the Packers have scored 14 points through the first 3 games. They're hot in the third quarter. They don't want to repeat those kind of numbers. And first down, in and out of the hands of Collins. Millen right on the money, but the rookie was running without the ball.
One thing, important thing to keep in mind, that last graphic we saw, the Packers have given up 58 points so far in 3 games. That's the highest total in the NFL. This is by far their worst quarter in a football game. Sorry. Here Collins is coming across. He knows he's wide open. He was running upfield. See his head turn like that? The ball had just contacted his hands. He turned his head to look where the DB was. Receiver has to look the ball into his body before he can run with it.
Hugh Millen in his first NFL start, 7 of 10 now, but that certainly was a clean drop. And he is hauled down, a one-armed sack by Tim Harris. And he works that end zone group of fans down there after he makes it.
Get him a pair of pom-poms. He's ready to get this crowd fired up. Tim's a multifaceted pass rusher. He can beat you with strength, and he can also beat you with moves. He's way out to the right on the edge of the screen going against Mike Ken here. Mike Ken doesn't get him quite soon enough. He gets the edge on Ken. You can't do that to a great pass rusher. He'll get through that far shoulder and get your quarterback every time.
9-yard loss on the play, and that really got the crowd fired up. Millen rolling. Settle. A flag down, but what a creative effort by Hugh Millen under pressure. Settle turned it into a pretty good gain. We'll see what the flag is. It looked to me like he threw the ball forward even though it was underhanded, and that should have been just a normal forward pass. I don't think he was anywhere near the line of scrimmage, so it appeared to be.
There's no foul on the play. The pass was behind the line of scrimmage, forward, which is legal. 4th down.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hantek. I think that's just the way we had it.
This is a great imaginative play by Millen. He knows he's going to be tackled. He knows he's going to be sacked. He just flips it ahead to Settle. Legally, that is a forward pass. It looks like the old shuttle pass. We just sort of flip it underhand to the running back and just get it out there to him. But great imagination. Unfortunately, pass protection was very poor, and it forced him into that situation.
Still leaves a 4th down for the Falcons. And Scott Fulhag will kick it. Just got it away. What a rush by the Packers. They had 4 guys in on it. It'll roll dead at the 40-yard line of Green Bay. A 36-yard punt. So the Pack with good field position when we return early in the second quarter.
For those of you in Atlanta that are Falcon fans that thought that might have been roughing the kicker, we'll see the rest of this punt here where he does go to the ground, but Tiger Green, number 23, you can just barely see his arms come through the left-hand side of the screen. He ticks the ball. Just get a little piece of it. That's all you have to do. Then you can do whatever you want to the kicker.
Now wound up a 36-yarder. First down, Packers at their 40. Deep drop by Mikowski. Forward out of the backfield. Driven out by Case, but a Packer first down inside the 50-yard line. And let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Tim, especially for Viking fans in the Twin Cities, Wade Wilson done for the day. Broken bone on his left hand. So Tommy Gunn fires that one to Anthony Carter, and the Vikes lead Tampa Bay 7-0. Now let's go back to Tim.
7-yard line. First down.
Thank you, Brent. Well, I guess there was a bit of a controversy brewing as to Wilson and Kramer in Minnesota, and now that is resolved as it often is by injury, at least for the time being. Fullwood to the 45-yard line. Gain of about 2. Randy Fullwood had a head of steam on that pass. When he gets going, he is really starting to look like an awesome back.
That's right. Scott Case, number 25 for the Atlanta Falcons, he did lead the league last year in interceptions. He had a great year. But I think most defensive backs would be the first one to tell you they don't like to see two things. They don't like to see an offensive lineman with a full head of steam, and they don't like to see a running back with nobody out in front of him. I mean, it's one-on-one. Is he going to go to my right? Is he going to go to my left? They've got to be a little bit hesitant. And Fullwood ran right down through the middle of that black stripe on Scott Case's helmet and put him on his backside.
Packers with a 2nd and 9 at the 45-yard line of Atlanta, trailing 7-3. Pumps once and now going deep. Incomplete. Sharp, the intended receiver, and unhappy with the coverage from Scott Case on the play, but his complaints falling on deaf ears as they usually do.
Well, you know, complaints by wide receivers like that are kind of like defensive linemen saying offensive linemen hold. If it's not called, it's great technique. And Sharp had mentioned the fact that we thought we might be able to put a little fake on these DBs and get deep. Now, see, Scott Case does put his left hand on Sterling Sharp. In the past, that was interference. That's no longer interference. He's allowed to feel back for where the receiver is as long as they're both going for the ball and looking at it.
You could see Case clearly looking back at the ball as it was coming down. 3rd down. They snap it to Herman Fontenot, and Fontenot picks up about 5, but good reaction by Atlanta. Brings up a 4th down. So a little trick play there with a direct snap in the shotgun formation to the running back, Herman Fontenot. But the Falcons reacted well, and it brings up 4th.
Well, Lindy and Fonte had said they're going to come up with some different formations, but so far we've seen some plays that are brand new for the Packers so far this year. With that play, plus also that little screen pass with Woodside trying to block.
Bracken's first punt attempt from the 45-yard line of Green Bay. Deion Sanders back. With Evan Cooper. Ball lands at the 7 and is going to be downed at the 2-yard line. Carl Bland downs it there, and we'll be back to County Stadium in a moment. County Stadium, Milwaukee, on a hot, sunny afternoon this 1st of October. Light winds blowing. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross. For the Green Bay Packers, trailing by 4, have the Falcons bottled up at the 2-yard line following Bracken's punt down by Carl Bland. And meanwhile, Tim Harris, during this commercial timeout, has been out there doing a cheerleading job. Those very exuberant fans in the end zone, he's got them all pumped up.
This is the only spot in this entire stadium where sound is a factor. This end zone, the crowd is in the game.
Settle for 3 to the 5-yard line. Hugh Millen, the 6'5" quarterback, making his first NFL start, took the Falcons right down the field on the opening drive. 80 yards, 15 plays, a 3-yard pass to tight end Brad Beckman.
You know, this type of the field, this part of the field, your goal is to get a first down. You don't want to drive it 90 yards. That's not where you go in here. You want to get a first down to give your runner, your punter, some room to punt.
They have 2nd down and 7. Jones. Keith Jones, the Illinois rookie, out to the 10-yard line. They'll need a couple of more for a first down. Talking with Hugh Millen yesterday, interesting his observations about playing behind Chris Miller. Miller, a #1 pick in 1987, and Millen coming over, picked up as a reject from the Rams. Interesting perspective on where he is.
Very much. I mean, he knows this is his first start. He knows his inexperience, but he said, I don't get to throw 12 interceptions before they give me the hook. I'll be out of there quick if I can't start fast.
Not expecting the same treatment a #1 like Miller will get, the patience from the coaching staff. He knows he's got to play well. And he hits Beckman, the tight end, out to the 25-yard line, a first down. So far, Millen has been very much on target. 8 of 11 now.
The biggest knock so far is on Brad Beckman, like we said, has been his speed. But when you're getting this wide open and you're being hit right in the chest with a football, just a crossing pad, you see him coming across your screen. Hugh Millen does a great job, takes a shot in the face for it. But we'll see the hit right here on Millen. Robert Brown comes in right under the chin. Quarterbacks are used to that, though. That's why they make more money than everybody else.
Well, and he's quite a target at 6'5", too. Easy to get under his chin. Good time. Beckman wide open. Another Falcon first down. And they have found something over there, Randy. 2 plays in a row. Ken Stills made the tackle. But Beckman opening up and a first down at the 47-yard line of Atlanta.
The Falcons are using Beckman much like the Rams last week used Pete Holohan. They like to kind of delay him and then drag him across the middle underneath the linebackers. There's a hole there in the zone right underneath the linebackers, between the linebackers and the defensive line, and they're taking full advantage of it right now.
Correcting the stats for Millen, he's now 10 of 13, 122 yards. 2 catches by Beckman in a row. This time they sack him.
Well, right here, you don't know whether to give the sack to the offensive guard or the center. Somebody must have stepped on him because he fell like he was shot.
Have a better look at that.
We get a look right after the snap. It looks like it might have been either Freilich or the center, Jamie Duke, stepping back and got a little piece of Millen.
Well, it turns into a 4-yard loss. Collins in motion behind the ball. Settle. Blasts his way up the sideline to about the 46-yard line of Green Bay. Driven out by Ron Pitts, number 28. Pitts and Mark Lee both coming off knee injuries, seeing more time today in that Green Bay secondary. Buffalo leading New England 7-3 in the second quarter. You saw Minnesota in front. Jets ahead of Indianapolis. Ron Pitts has moved into the left corner spot on 3rd down here. Loose ball again. Millen just dives on it. All the way back at the 41-yard line.
Well, after a few problems, Tim, I think it bears mentioning the fact that Marion Campbell has an inexperienced center in there as Jamie Dukes, number 64. There's got to be a problem here between the center and the quarterback. The ball drops straight down out of his hands. It's kicked by Dukes, number 64, and it goes straight backwards. You know, Wayne Radloff was a holdout for a long time until last week. His 2-week exemption is up after this week, but Dukes has really come a long ways, and this has been a real surprise so far for me. We haven't seen any of this in the films. He's had no problems up to now.
Well, a costly error there, forcing an Atlanta punt. Scott Fulhage standing at his 28-yard line. Query is the deep punt returner. Good kick by Fulhage. Out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Looks like they'll mark it. No, it'll be at the 7, but a fine punt. We'll be back.
This NFL Team Summary is sponsored by Citicorp, because Americans want to succeed, not just survive.
County Stadium, Milwaukee. A quick look at how things have transpired to this point. In the first quarter, each team had just 1 possession, and they both scored. Atlanta with a touchdown, the Packers with a field goal, and that has accounted for all of the scoring to date. And Hugh Millen, making his first start for Atlanta until those last 2 plays, Randy, was really doing well. A problem with Jamie Dukes' center.
As a former center, you hate to see that, because you know on those 2 plays, the first one he stepped on the quarterback, the next one the snap isn't good. He's sitting there, he's sitting up sitting on the bench right now saying, please don't let that be on tape. I hope if my wife's taping this game, I don't want to see that.
Well, now how much of that has to do with it? They probably only had a week of practice after Chris Miller went down a week ago.
Well, actually, Hugh Millen's had more practice time with backup center Guy Bingham than he has with Jamie Dukes. It's a feel thing, no pun intended, but it's really a thing of repetition. You've got to get used to that snap.
Well, 2 critical miscues there in the last series. It's Packer ball after a 51-yard punt by Scott Fulhage, starting the Packers from their own 7. Fullwood picks up about 2 yards. And for another NFL update, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Tim, New Orleans now leading Washington 14-3. This was the pass play that set it up. Hebert to Lonzel Hill, who earlier scored. This one's 37 yards. Dalton Hilliard inside the 10 got the touchdown. Let's go back to Tim.
All right, Brent. Well, the New Orleans Saints, too good a team. Their personnel is just too good for them to stay down very long. And even though they've staggered at the start, I think they're a team still very much a serious contender this year. Second down and 8. That's Fullwood, and good coverage over there by Andre Bruce. Taking that back out of the backfield and holding him to virtually no gain, maybe a loss of a yard.
The snow's a long way from here. I guarantee you that.
This is amazing, isn't it?
This is great. I'll come back to Milwaukee every week if it's going to be this beautiful. After growing up in California, this reminds me of home.
We got a very pleasant breeze blowing, and fairly stiff, we might add, as you can see from the flag. They said about 15 to 20 miles an hour out there, and it's in the face of the Packers now. How much effect it is, quarterbacks tell you that it does tend to swirl in County Stadium. Mikowski will work from the shotgun on 3rd down and 10. 4 wide receivers across. Almost picked off. Tim Gordon, number 41. The ball was deflected en route, and it was then a wounded duck. And Gordon nearly had himself an intercept inside the 20. So Green Bay will have to punt.
And that, Tim, is the perfect kind of pass that wind you were talking about affects. A ball that's being thrown hard and zip with that nose down and really moving fast. The wind's got to be blowing real hard to affect it. You get that ball with the nose up, the wind can move it like an old Hoyt Wilhelm knuckleball.
It looked like that indeed. And so Green Bay having to start from their 7, unable to do anything with it. Bracken will punt. Sanders waiting for it at the Green Bay 45. Potentially dangerous situation. The electrifying rookie Deion Sanders, and the ball hung up in the wind. Fair caught at the 40-yard line by Sanders. And so Atlanta will start in Green Bay territory when we return. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross, County Stadium, Milwaukee's. Atlanta's opening drive resulting in a touchdown pass, Millen to Beckman, and a field goal by Green Bay. And you can see they've had it just about the same amount of time, and neither team on their last possession able to move the football. But with a 33-yard punt into the wind from Bracken, Atlanta first down at the Packer 40. Gene Lang works his way out the right side for about 3 yards. Maybe 4 on the play.
Lang, the ball carrier.
Well, we mentioned at the top of the show that Atlanta Falcons wanted to run the ball well. They wanted their line to play well. They want to hold on to the ball. They do have the lead in time of possession. They have to lengthen that thing out a little bit. It's not so important for them to score 50 points today. If they have the ball significantly longer than the Packers, they will win this game.
2nd and 6, Falcons. Millen got the ball off as he was hit by Harris. Harris wants the sack, and they're going to give it to him. 3rd sack by the Green Bay Packers.
Well, the rule is you must be in the grasp and under the control of the defensive lineman, and Millen was definitely both. Harris is standing in the middle of the screen. He's coming from your right, just running, standing right now over the center. He puts an arm over on Jamie Dukes. Dukes hardly even touches him. He's all over Millen. That's a very safe call. To let the guy go any further than that would be a little dangerous for a quarterback.
Well, Harris has got all of these Packer sacks. Millen. Collins, first down to the 15-yard line. You got to like that about Hugh Millen. Coming off the sack, delivers right up the middle on the next play, turning negative yardage into positive, a 28-yard gain, and they're at the Packer 15.
I think it also, Collins is in the slot right here, and it also shows a lot of confidence that Marion Campbell and Rod Dowhauer, their offensive coordinator, have in Hugh Millen and his ability to run this offense. He does a clean break here and a good pass. He drops it right over in between the zones into the hole.
3rd catch for Collins, 63 yards. Settled, not much, close to the 15-yard line. Just about a yard maybe over the line of scrimmage. Holland and Noble, the inside linebackers, make the tackle. Well, on this lovely sunny afternoon, summer weather on the 1st of October, County Stadium, Milwaukee. In the second quarter, 4:06 to go until halftime. Atlanta leads 7-3, and the Falcons with a 2nd and 10 at the 15-yard line of Green Bay. Kenny Flowers in the backfield now. Flowers ran into traffic and it dropped by Noble. Got maybe a yard. That'll leave 3rd and 9. For another NFL update, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Well, Tim, for Viking fans in the Twin Cities, this tremendous punt return here by Leo Lewis set up a Viking field goal. 65-yard return. The storyline here, Rich Karlis. His first field goal for the Vikings. He was picked up this week, 20 yards out, and now it's 10-0. Let's go back to Tim.
All right, Brent. Green Bay fans interested in that score involving the Vikings in Tampa Bay. Injuries to Chicago, and now the problems with the Viking quarterbacking. Who knows? Green Bay could be a factor. Flags are down.
Flag on the play.
Pass complete. Got the left side on the play to Michael Haynes. And let's see where the infraction is. The second-year man from Northern Arizona.
Illegal motion, offense, number 69, 5-yard penalty, repeat the down, 3rd down.
Houston Hoover, the right tackle, charged with illegal motion, backs it up to the 19-yard line.
Ball on the 19-yard line of Atlanta.
3rd and 14. Left for Atlanta. And here's a tester for young Hugh Millen. Complete. Collins. First down, Atlanta. At the 3-yard line of Green Bay. Stills and Anderson on the tackle. And Hugh Millen delivered the goods.
Millen and Collins are playing together like they've been together since training camp, every day throwing all the passes. Collins here was in the slot, and it's almost like the last pattern he caught. He just drops right in between the zone right there. John Anderson comes back to hit him, and Ken Stills finishes him off. But a great pinpoint pass that time by Hugh Millen.
Sean Collins, his 4th catch now. Big guy, 6'2", 207-pounder. Doesn't mind going in the middle. Says he played some tight end in college. Falcons take a timeout. Collins comfortable running those inside routes. 2:20 on the clock. We'll be back. Atlanta on top. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross. 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go until halftime. Atlanta 1st and goal from the Green Bay 3. And they have 2 timeouts remaining, having taken the first of their 3. Hugh Millen says, right now I'm more of a question mark than an exclamation point. I was coming into this game. Lang. Atlanta signals touchdown, but the officials don't. He's very close to the goal line. The way Millen has been directing this team, he may be an exclamation point before the game's over.
Or at least he'll start rubbing off the top part of that question mark. They don't want to eliminate it completely.
The 2-minute warning.
The 2-minute warning
has been reached here at County Stadium. We'll be back with Atlanta on the doorstep. The Atlanta Falcons have the length of the football to the end zone here. Chance to widen their lead. They've used up 8 plays, 39 yards, 4:04 on this drive, and the scoring drives by each team have been lengthy, more than 7 minutes the first 2, and Atlanta here on the doorstep, over 4 minutes on this one. So it's been a ball control kind of a game through the first half. Settle, no problem, touchdown. Settle started straight ahead, then saw a big opening out the left and just walked across, Randy. An easy score for him.
That was the play you'd assume they were going to run. They knew they were coming, but they just couldn't stop it. You get a guy like John Settle, everybody tends to come inside. Look, Mike Hens lined up at tight end. Tim Harris is down there. Everybody collapses inside. That's where they figure he's coming. He just bounces it outside, and you get one-on-one with half a yard to go. You're not going to stop John Settle.
McFadden for the point after. Scott Campbell holding. And he's got it.
The kick is good.
So with 1:57 to play in the half, Atlanta 14, Green Bay 3. Well, here's a game that a couple of the principals here today will be looking at next week for sure. Don Mikowski, the former Virginia star, Kenny Flowers out of Clemson. Maybe they've even made their own personal little wager. Next Saturday at 2:30 Eastern Time down in Death Valley, there's Kenny Flowers, former Clemson star. He'll be watching Clemson at 4-1 against Virginia at 4-1. Virginia's only lost this year to #1 ranked Notre Dame. And Virginia has never beaten Clemson in 28 tries. So that should be some fun and excitement down there in Death Valley next week here on CBS. Kick it off. 14-3. Atlanta lead. In the end zone, Workman will not bring it out. And you might be tempted to say, as I was and I will, the Packers have the Falcons right where they want them because they're down here 14-3, and they have been a great second half team. Unfortunately, they only got one victory out of those 3 games, so I'm sure Coach Infante would rather see them get something here in a hurry.
This might not be a big enough deficit for the Packers. Maybe an interception for a touchdown, they'd feel a lot better. I think it's very important for Don Mikowski to run a 2-minute offense type of a drill here and just get down the field and get at least a field goal. Because they came into this game saying we've got to have some early momentum in the first half. So far, they haven't had it. They've only had the ball 3 times so far this half. This is only their 4th possession.
First down from their 20. Mikowski for Kemp right on the money to the 45-yard line. All down by Butler. Timeout called by Green Bay. A 25-yard gain. Kemp could not get out of bounds, and so they take the timeout.
Mikowski here drops back to pass, stands up with some good protection early. He's got a defender right in his face, drops it right over Bobby Butler into the arms of Perry Kemp. If you had your druthers here, you'd want Kemp to run out of bounds. You wouldn't want to have to waste a timeout. He should have run as fast as he could or even tried to pick Butler up and carried him out of bounds, but don't waste a timeout.
Mikowski talking to Infante here, and I think the most interesting thing that came out this past week as we see his stats here on first down. He's been strong in that department. But is the fact that Infante told him, look, the coaches are not always going to call the best player the right play. It's not up to you in that circumstance to try to force it in there, which Infante and Mikowski agrees have caused some interceptions.
He was real quick to agree. He says, what I've done is if I haven't always agreed, I'll try to just put it into the spot where I figure the receiver should be. Unfortunately, most of the time so far, the defensive back's been in that position to pick off his pass.
The middle this time, intended for Sharp, but very tight coverage by Tim Gordon, number 41. Good job to break it up. Gordon, the third-year man from Tulsa, free agent, 1987, and another of those success stories on the Falcons, like Jesse Tuggle, the linebacker, and of course John Settle, true free agents out of college, no pro experience, made this team, and now 3 starters and good ones. 2nd and 10. Mikowski directing traffic. Fontenot alongside him. Fontenot has the first down. Evan Cooper bulldogging him down. Did not get out of bounds before he was down, so time ticks away. Now they stop it. 1:29 on the clock. And Green Bay taking the timeout. That stopped the clock. They've got 1 remaining. A 42nd timeout. Just about enough time for us to remind you that Brent Nerd will be along momentarily with all the scores, highlights, and latest information from around the NFL today in this very exciting and entertaining early season. Pat O'Brien will also bring you up to date on some of the offbeat stories you may have missed on the NFL this week. And that's the NFL video log. I guarantee you some amusement when Mr. O'Brien is involved.
One of the impressive things about Don Majkowski so far early this season is when he gets in these pressure situations like this in a 2-minute drill, or he gets far behind, he's very, very patient. He's willing to place the ball a 10-yard pass, a little crossing pattern like that to a running back. He doesn't get greedy and go for everything all at once.
Packers at the 43-yard line of Atlanta. 1:29 to play first half. Caught and fumbled, no, incomplete. Ruled an incompletion, did not have possession. Moore putting the hit on Sterling Sharp. Looked for a second like Sharp might have had this ball, but he didn't really have control of it.
Comes back across the middle. The ball's coming in here. You got to have possession with both hands and 2 feet on the ground. He shovels it up. He still doesn't have it. He doesn't. He loses it definitely, and then he's smacked right there. Receiver knows once he bumbles that thing twice, it's going to be coming.
Fumbles or bobbles comes out the same. For sure.
A bumblebee was that?
Second and 10. Up the middle, incomplete. Intended for Bland, and a good effort by Scott Case to slap it away, number 25. Third down now for Green Bay. 1:21 on the clock. Cleveland on top of Denver 7-3. Look at this, Kansas City up by 10 on Cincinnati. And Houston 12-0 over Miami. Detroit a field goal up on Pittsburgh still, and Minnesota still 10-0 over Tampa.
Green Bay needs at least 12 yards in this situation to get anywhere near the range of Chris Jackie for a field goal here.
Jackie's had only one field goal in regular season play. An attempt. Good effort by Majkowski, and is it picked up? Intercepted by Atlanta down at the 27-yard line. Majkowski did well to stay away from the pass rushers, but wound up just chucking the ball up, and Atlanta is in possession. Scott Case coming down with it at his own 27.
Well, Majkowski shows good poise here. He knows the pass rush is going to be coming after him. He goes to spin out here. He gets grabbed, gets released. He keeps coming. Here's the situation Don Majkowski should have taken the sack. He talked about it Friday. I get in a bad spot. I shouldn't just throw the ball up for grabs. He didn't have a chance of completing that. The only person that had a real chance of catching that was Scott Case.
And he did. So Atlanta stops Green Bay's late effort here in the second half, and 1:12 still to go. Let's see which way Atlanta chooses to play the final minute 12. Settle. Picks up about 7 to the 32-yard line.
You know, by not taking that sack there, what you're talking about in this key situation is field position. Instead of punting from around the 50-yard line and maybe getting the ball out of bounds at the 7, the 8, the 10-yard line and backing Atlanta up with 1 minute and 12 seconds left, you give them the ball here on around the 30-yard line, which gives them plenty of room to get out and score.
Well, 2 young quarterbacks, certainly very much the story of this game going in, and the story of it at halftime. You saw Millen with Campbell, and there is Don Majkowski, who I'm sure is saying, you know, another one of those errors, trying to make something happen, trying to make that good play, and really choosing to not try to do something as difficult as that was. Scrambling around back there, he had done a good job getting away from the rush, but then throwing the ball up for grabs. 2nd and 5 will be left, and of course we've got lots more football ahead for you here today on the NFL Today. Doubleheader game 2. We'll see the Rams in San Francisco. Randy, your club will be at home against the Los Angeles Rams, who we know have got a lot of talent, but also give up some points.
They give up some points, but they've got a very, very impressive offense now. A great passing game.
A sack on Millen. Tiger Green coming in from the secondary. The 4th Packer sack in the first half.
In this situation, remember the old prevent defense? Everybody sits back. On the way on the far edge of your right side of your screen here, Tiger Green's number 23 is going to be coming. And Tiger Green gets bumped by Mike Ken. It looked like they were trying to set up a screen, but Tiger Green, being a defensive back and quicker than the linebacker or defensive end, got there so fast, Millen never had a chance to throw the screen pass.
It's a 7-yard loss on the play. The Packers have been looking for sacks. They haven't had them in the first 3 games, but they've got 4 of them here in the first half today. As we take a quick look at our CBS Sports Wire, and remember, Brent Nerve will be along shortly to bring you up to date on all of the activity.
So just to go back to that last play for a second, an offensive tackle opens up like that, and he sees that defender. All he really has to do is give him a little shot, and then he's going to run down the line to set up the screen pass. He's used to doing that to a Tim Harris, who's a big guy. He's used to doing that to a defensive end, who's a big guy. The little guy gets out there, you give him a shot, you forget that guy runs a 4-4, 4-5. He's going to be in that quarterback space in a second.
There's a go for Millen now. Under a minute to go. Buys a little time and dumps it out too short for Keith Jones. Blaze Winter got a hand on the ball, and Jones had no chance to get his hands on it. So it'll be 4th down. Atlanta will have to punt. Packers will wind up with reasonable field position here for one more go at it.
They should have around 40, 45 seconds left when they get the ball back. That is plenty of time for an offense, especially Lindy and Fondy's offense.
Scott Bullhaig standing at his 10, and the deep man is Query. Not a big punt. Query gets some room to the 49-yard line. So the Packers from midfield now with 43 seconds still to go. Gary Wilkins made the tackle, reserve tight end. Well, now, what do we see here from Mikowski and company, Randy?
I think much the same we saw on the last drive. They've got to be kind of patient. They've got enough time for probably 5 or 6 plays. They need to get down to at least the 30-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons and set Chris Jackie up for a field goal.
43 seconds on the clock. There's Don Mikowski, and I'm sure glad that he's got another opportunity here. He may have felt that it wasn't forthcoming after the interception. One timeout remaining for Green Bay. Three wide receivers. Fontenot comes out of the backfield. In and out of the hand to Carl Bland. Case on the coverage. Case on the case.
Scott Case has emerged as one of the better defensive backs in the NFL, and obviously last year he led the league in interceptions with 11. It was sort of a surprise to a lot of people that he all of a sudden came up with that many interceptions. I think the real key to him getting that many picks is the fact that Marion Campbell went to that new style of defense. More guys up on the line of scrimmage, more pressure in the quarterback's face, forces quarterbacks to throw bad passes.
So Mikowski on 2nd down. He'll be close to 1st down yardage. Packers take their final timeout. He got to about the 41-yard line. 26 seconds on the clock. Casillas made the tackle, the nose tackle, ranging out there. That's the kind of a year he's been having.
Well, outside of Randall Cunningham, quarterbacks are the kind of guys nose tackles can catch. I mean, there's not many of them.
Well, don't forget, we'll be going to our New York studios, the NFL Today. Brent Nerve with the scores and highlights, and Pat O'Brien with the NFL video log.
Well, you're not going to see too many passes in this situation thrown over the middle. They have 26 seconds left. They have no timeouts. So Atlanta will be playing the sidelines pretty aggressively. You want to keep them. You would like to guard the 12 yards between the 30 and the 42 at this point very toughly. You don't want to get over the middle. If you get over the middle, you'll see the Packers have to sprint to the line because to get this ball off in 20 seconds would be tough if they have a completion.
80 yards to the 1st down. And Mikowski just takes off running with it, gets the yardage inside the 35. 18 seconds. They've got another play call. Mikowski trying to get it off. And just throws that ball down to stop the clock with 9 seconds remaining. Chris Jackie's only field goal try in regular season play last week, good for 43 yards. And then came in with his effort earlier today.
They've got enough time with 9 seconds to get one more pass off to move them a little bit closer. At this point, it would be about a 53-yard field goal, and I believe that's out of Mr. Jackie's range.
Well, there's one today 35-yarder and the 43-yarder a week ago, so they're going to try and get this thing in as close as they can for the rookie. Second down. For Sharp. Incomplete. And meanwhile, Rutgers having a bit of a go with Andre Bruce back behind the quarterback, and flags fly here as Rich Moran came back to assist Rutgers in a little tag team effort.
See, everybody's worried about the teams being on the same sidelines. What are they going to do? Fight? Fights happen on the field. You're on the sideline. You're too busy getting a drink of water and a little oxygen. You're not going to fight on the sideline. Though Moran will have a chance to be on the sideline.
Personal foul. Offense. Personal foul. Defense. Fouls are offset. Third down.
Well, that gets a boost from the crowd, but there's no damage done, which is usually the case. Those personal fouls at offset, no pain, no gain. No gain, no pain, either way you look at it. Third down at the 35-yard line with 5 seconds left, and a 52-yard attempt now for Jackie. Jackie had a 57-yarder wind assisted in the preseason. But this is a little different. He's kicking into the wind, and it counts. Good foot. He's got it.
Now that's the way the Green Bay Packers want to finish the first half.
That was a 52-yard field goal.
52-yard field goal by Chris Jackie, and it's 14-6, Atlanta on top. The same problems he's had in the first half of other games.
Without a doubt, Hugh Millen's had a good grasp of this offense so far. He has been sacked 4 times, but this looks like the same Mikowski we saw last week against the Rams, and something he's had the last couple of weeks. He's having a tough time getting his motor running early in the game.
Well, let's take a look at some of the stats, if we can, of involving these two quarterbacks. You see Millen, 12 of 16, 166 yards and a touchdown. Mikowski, 7 of 17, but as you pointed out, you got to watch out for this guy in the second half.
Say the second half belongs to Don Mikowski. Look at this. First half, all his interceptions in the last 2 weeks, 4 of them, they're in the first half. Second half, all 5 touchdown passes he's thrown has been in the second half. This guy goes on fire. He goes absolutely crazy. The offensive line seems to block better. Sterling Sharp seems to catch better. And what's really important is the Packer defense all of a sudden seems to come alive. They've gotten 4 sacks. Look for them to really get after Hugh Millen in the second half.
Well, a big difference here, too, is that they're not that far back now. It's just a 6-point deficit. So this could be a different second half all around. We don't know what to expect from Green Bay. And the Atlanta Falcons have to be very pleased with what Hugh Millen has been doing for them.
Oh, without a doubt. He's been very patient. He's been throwing the regular passes. He's also thrown some pretty tough passes, dumping it in between zones. He's used his tight end an awful lot. Something really surprised us. Ron Heller was out. We thought without Ron Heller, they wouldn't really use a lot of tight ends.
Well, that's right. And the plan B guy, Brad Beckman, looks very comfortable out there. So I think we'll have an entertaining second half, to say the least, because these are 2 young quarterbacks with something to prove, coming from different areas, if you will, but both with very much at stake. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this message and a word from your local station. We'll have the ball first here in the second half.
You think he'd be barefoot if we played in the middle of December here?
Yes. Yeah. I think they're all a little, offbeat, shall we say, anyway, those place kickers. And I expected you'd see him barefoot. He's done it before. Vince Workman, you saw number 46. The rookie is the deep return man. But I'm sure McFadden is pleased to find it, as we referred to it at the beginning of the telecast, of Miami North here in the state of Wisconsin. 5 yards deep, and Workman will bring it out. and pays the price. Stopped at the 10-yard line. Delbert Shelley, number 37, making the hit on him. And in that first half, Atlanta had the ball a little longer, and it's reflected on the scoreboard. If you joined us along the way, each team scoring on their opening possession, long drives using up more than 7 minutes each, but Atlanta getting a touchdown and Green Bay a field goal. Chris Jackie has had 2 field goals to account for the 6 points for Green Bay. And a touchdown pass from Hugh Millen to Brad Beckman. A 1-yard run, less than that actually, about the length of a ball by John Settle, accounting for the Atlanta scores. So Mikowski from his 10 to open the second half. Fullwood carrying tacklers to the 15 for a gain of close to 5. Mike Gann and Tim Green getting the free ride from Fullwood.
Well, last week against the Rams, down 31 points, the Green Bay Packers came out, ran the ball a little, threw a few short passes, kept their patience, as I said earlier, and just effectively went down and scored a touchdown and really lit a fire underneath the rest of the team.
A 2nd and 6 for Green Bay. Johnson's out to the right, Kent to the left. Forward again, good hold. First down, Green Bay, tripped up by Gordon. Moving the sticks to the 25-yard line.
Brent Fullwood's got that first step. He gets a chance to take a step and look at what his blocking is going to be like. Sees a gap, cuts it back, right there between Hallstrom and Bush. Gets flipped up in the air, gets up, spins the ball, says, hey, that didn't bother me, I'm ready. Look, it hasn't dropped yet. Look at that thing spin.
That's a serious spin from Fullwood. Fullwood again. Not much this time. Tony Casillas came into this game with 36 tackles in the first 3 games, 7 of them last week against Indianapolis. And a guy who actually thought about giving up football. It's hard to believe. A year ago, such a talent, but it just was unhappy, not really enjoying the life. And now is rededicated and says he's happy to take that punishment on the nose, but he's been dealing out most of the punishment. You don't often get those numbers when you're a nose tackle.
Well, he's played against some real running teams so far in the Rams and the Colts and the Tampa Bay Bucks, so he's had plenty of opportunities and reps at runs to get some tackles.
1-yard gain for Fullwood. Play action to Woodside. Woodside driven out at the 42-yard line by Tim Gordon. Another first down, Green Bay.
You know, we got Tony Casillas. We got him isolated here. He thinks it's going to be a run. I can get there. He's got all his friends around. Defenders are there. He's playing against Blair Bush. All of a sudden, Bush hits him. Hallstrom comes down and hits him. He won't be making a tackle on this play. Tony Casillas, though, he's been double teamed. He is probably the finest pass rushing nose guard I played against in my 13 years. Nose guards are generally just run guys. This guy's got the hand speed and the foot speed to be a real threat, and he plays in the nickel for Marion Campbell.
So the Packers out now at the 41-yard line with a first down. Play action again. Deep sideline. What a catch by Sharp, and he holds on. Taking the hit from Scott Case, and even Case had to give him a little applause.
He's trying to pretend he wasn't really hurt that time. He says, it's okay, I'm fine. That didn't hurt me. You get over to the sideline, all of a sudden it sort of sinks in. But Don Mikowski zips this ball out there. Sterling Sharp goes up high for it and gets head over heels, lands right. Ouch! I know I wouldn't get up. There's no doubt about it. If I landed on my shoulders like that, I'd be down for a while. You can't pick a guy that's got more personality than Sterling Sharp. He says, I like practice more. I can goof around. I can have fun in practice.
Can drop a few balls and it doesn't matter. He is a character. A fine player. This is Michael Haddix, his first carry, number 35, for a couple of yards out the right side.
You know, life for a nose guard in the NFL can be generally miserable. You get hit from the right, you get hit from the left, and Tony Casillas there is one of the best at dealing with combination blocks. You see Bush hits him a little bit, and then Hallstrom gets on him. He fights through Hallstrom. Hallstrom's 6'5", 300 pounds. He throws him aside like that's nothing, comes in and makes the tackle.
Well, continuing to show a Pro Bowl form, the four-year man from Oklahoma. Second and 8. Out of the backfield, Woodside. All the way to the 22-yard line.
He put a great move that play on Scott Case, and Jesse Tuggle come up to try to make a tackle, and they were grabbing nothing but air on that one. We're going to see here is 33 Woodside just come out, go out of your screen, fakes it around. Mikowski just dumps it over the defender's heads. Now watch this. First Tuggle, then Case slides in there. Nice move by Woodside. He heads to the sideline, figures I've gotten about all I'm gonna, gets out of bounds. Marginal might have been a little out of bounds hit there.
Andre Bruce, the man who hit him there. They've used up 4 minutes on the drive here to the 25-yard line. Approaching the red zone where they haven't had a lot of success so far. Mikowski's going to run it. Tried to slide, wound up with about a 7-yard gain to the 18-yard line. Thomas and Gann made the tackle. Ben Thomas for the injured Rick Bryan at right defensive end. There's Lindy Infante with his playlist for this second half. Now you get into that crunch time, the scoring territory inside the 20. They have a 2nd and 5.
There aren't very many teams in the NFL. I believe there's one that has a better scoring percentage as far as touchdowns in the NFL than the Green Bay Packers.
Bullwood.
Flag on the play as Woodside carries.
John Rady on the tackle.
Forward the ball carrier. Flag on the play.
But a flag down, and evidently against the Packers. The preliminary signal, they're marching it off.
Holding, offense, number 57, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down, 2nd down.
Rich Moran picks up the penalty for Green Bay. So Green Bay, you see, inside the 20, second in the league.
13 touchdowns out of 16 tries inside the 20. That's very, very impressive. And a field goal today. So, I mean, you continue those numbers over a season, that kind of performance will get you into the playoffs.
Now they're back out to the 30 here on 2nd down. Koski gets it off, and it's right into the hands of Evan Cooper. The closest man was Keith Woodside. The pressure came from Ben Thomas, number 72, and Cooper got a gift.
We mentioned at the top of the show and in the first half, Mikowski feels, I can't feel pressured and try to make things happen. He tries to make things happen here. He throws it right into his arms. Come on, Don, you can't do that.
So Atlanta stops the Packers at their own 13.
A lot of people are quick to criticize the quarterback. They say, hey, you made a bad decision. How would you like to have 270, 280-pound defensive linemen after you trying to break every bone in your body? A quarterback's trying to make something happen. Heck, he's trying to stay alive. He gets out there and throws a pass where he believes it's going to be a receiver. Unfortunately, it was a bad decision that time on Mikowski's part.
Well, Hugh Millen, meanwhile, in his first NFL start for the injured Chris Miller, has been doing just fine, thank you, despite being sacked 4 times, but a flag down there, and so there'll be no play as the whistles blew before Lang even had the ball in his hands.
False start, offense, left guard, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Left guard is Stan Clayton, number 74. Clayton, a backup tackle and guard, getting the start today over Tommy Robinson, a former Packer, backup here as well. Was a Plan B free agent. Of course, John Scully still missing from that offensive line. He's a contract holdout. And his center, Wayne Radloff, just signed last week after a lengthy holdout. Fralick was a holdout during training camp. So this line is yet to really be together for any length of time for Atlanta. 1st and 15. Settle hit behind the line by Brown. Loss on the play. Robert Brown, number 93.
Brown made the initial contact on Settle.
This is the type of situation we talked about. We didn't want to see, or Atlanta did not want to see, Hugh Millen having to get into these 2nd and 17, 3rd and 17 situations. He's backed up. He's in safety territory if Green Bay can catch him back in the end zone.
Short drop by Millen. Complete, right on the money. Getting himself out of there with a quick hit to Michael Haynes. This guy can fly. Was in the Olympic trials for the last Olympic Games. Runs at 10,300 meters.
This is a nice, short, safe drop by Hugh Millen. Says, you're not going to catch me in the end zone. The heck with it. I'll just throw a little quick zip pattern here, right to the right receiver in between the zones.
Well, that's one way out of there for Millen and company. So Michael Haynes leaves a 3rd and 2. Lang flips it off to Settle. Forced out of bounds at the 40-yard line. But a little option kind of a play there with one back lateraling to the other. Lang to Settle.
That was great. We've seen a few little trick plays, but here from the end zone, we'll see Millen gives it to Lang. Everybody's saying, now why is he back there? We saw this last week against Indianapolis. They weren't able to quite do it, but Lang got the pitch out to Settles. He gets it out there, just does step out of bounds. We'll see the pitch one more time from Lang. He is smacked by Brown, but has the poise to get it out there and flips it out perfectly to Settle. You hate to see as a defensive coach, you don't want to let guys out of a big hole like the Packers just had the Falcons in.
Millen with time. Sean Collins. Collins inside the 15, finally hauled down by Mark Murphy. So Atlanta with a terrific effort from the shadow of their goal line. Bring it upfield and all the way down to the 13-yard line.
Like I said just before, you get a team pinned back there, you've got to come after them. You've got to get them and get some sacks on them and get them pinned back further. But Millen just stands in there. He has no fear of the pass rush. He figures, I know my guy will get open. He just flips it right in there to Haynes. Ooh, good hit there on the Collins. I'm sorry. Collins takes a heck of a hit here in the end. Whoa, Dave Brown comes in and puts a shoulder right under his chin.
47-yard play. Millen to Collins. Again, good protection. The tight end, Beckman. Beckman gets down to the 10-yard line. And Murphy and Anderson drive him out. But you have to be impressed with the poise of Hugh Millen in his first NFL start.
Hugh Millen's having the kind of game so far I'm sure Marion Campbell really didn't expect out of him. He expected him to have a pretty good game, but look at those stats. Has not thrown an interception, is completing at a high percentage, and is showing the cool and the leadership that this Atlanta Falcon offense really needed without their great starter Chris Millen.
Second down and 7. Lang, touchdown. The Boo Birds are out here at County Stadium as the Falcons just made that drive look easy. Romping the length of the field. And a 47-yard play, the big one, from Millen to Sean Collins. Marion Campbell, who really is high on Sean Collins, has now got to feel pretty good about Hugh Millen.
You know, one of the credos of offensive play, the line gets you the first 3 yards. You got to do the rest by yourself. He squirts out between that hole there, and he will not be denied. He just keeps driving, and the whole pile moves back into the end zone.
And the point after from McFadden. So the Falcons widen their lead. 21-6, 7:07 to go, third quarter. And here in the third quarter, the Falcons have just opened a 21-6 lead. A 10-yard scoring run by Gene Lang. Tim Ryan with Randy Cross. Watching the Packers now. Herman Fontenot from his 10-yard line on the kickoff return. Got to the 17, a flag down on the play, as we see so frequently on kickoffs. It's going to be against the Packers.
Illegal block on a return. Number 52 will penalize half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Mike Weddington, the linebacker, charged with the infraction, and so Packers start in a hole again inside their 10. Well, what a beautiful afternoon it is here in Milwaukee. Hard to believe temperatures in the high 70s. A fairly stiff breeze blowing, but for the 1st of October, quite an incredible day. In Atlanta, the team that took the early lead, 7-0 in the first quarter, and then 14-6 at halftime, and struck here in the third. Millen to Collins, a 47-yard pass play, setting up a 10-yard touchdown run by Gene Lang. And with Millen making his first NFL start, so far he has bested Don Mikowski. Mikowski from the goal line to Sharp. Sharp for a first down, Green Bay, to the 33-yard line.
Tim, thus far we've expected to see a good aggressive Atlanta defense. Atlanta's laying off a little bit more than they might normally. Case, just see him trip there a little bit. He loses at least a couple steps on Sharp. Mikowski zips it out there. He comes back for the ball. But Case decides, you're not getting away from me this time. Puts him down on the ground.
Ball on the Packers 33-yard line. First down.
So the Packers quickly out of their hole are at the 33-yard line. You see the baseball configuration here near the infield, near the second base dirt. One of the Milwaukee Brewers. Kemp, and in and out of the hands of Kemp, incomplete. Bobby Butler was right there, but it could have been about a 4 or 5 yard gain.
I think the surprise so far of the day today has been the fact that the Atlanta offense has been able to throw so effectively with Hugh Millen at quarterback. We knew they'd try to run the ball, but hey, they have got a heck of a passing day going so far. Millen is standing up there and just zipping the ball.
Houston with a big lead over Miami as we take a quick look at some other scores. Minnesota and Tampa Bay, that's been 10-3 for a while there. Second and 10. Fullwood has running room. Steered out of bounds by Case and Gordon, but not before another Packer first down. And they'll spot it at midfield.
A simple pulling play. Hallstrom, number 65, gets out 6'5", 300 pounds out there pulling. I guarantee you one thing. Brown cannot see that running back behind Hallstrom at that size. And Fullwood just goes up through the hole, and he's got the speed to get out there past the linebacker.
17-yard pickup.
Ball on the 50.
Buffalo's widen its lead over New England. And the Jets and Indianapolis in a tight one. First down, Green Bay. Draw play, Fullwood. Casillas all over him. Holds him to about a yard. An important drive, Randy, for Green Bay here, and likewise for Atlanta, not to let the Packers suddenly get that second half momentum going. Atlanta with a big lead, 21-6. Last week the Rams relaxed on defense, and I'm sure Marion Campbell is reminding his team, which is a good solid defensive team, just play your game and play it to its fullest.
Exactly, and I really think Lindy and Fonte there figured, I think we spotted them enough in the lead, guys. I know this is the second half, but let's not get carried away. This is a lot better defense than we played last week, and they're fired up.
Koski, sideliner rushed a little bit, and that's off target intended for Woodside. Had some pressure from Mike Gann on the play from the left side.
Woodside, the intended receiver. 3rd and 9.
You know, Infante said he was hoping to somehow neutralize Tim Green today, that they thought they had broken the code, as he put it, in terms of their defense. Marion Campbell told us that he wasn't going to be using Green the same way he did last week against Indianapolis, because this was a different offense. But Green so far has not really been a factor. We haven't called his name here in terms of pass rushes or tackles. 3rd down. Broken up. Diving attempt by Charles Dimry, number 22, batted the ball away. Dimry, the nickelback from Nevada, Las Vegas.
Intended receiver. 4th down, number 17, Don.
Dimry comes up just as the ball arrives and becomes one with the wide receiver. you're seeing this in slow motion. You might say, hey, he got there early and hit him before the ball arrived. Great play there by number 22, Jimry. He came in there, and just as the ball was getting towards Query, made the contact and knocked the ball away.
So the Packers are stopped again. Good defensive work by the Falcons, and Bracken will punt. Deion Sanders. And Heller is there to not Heller make it Clint Didier, number 80, there to make the tackle at the 25-yard line. And we'll be back. Tim Ryan with Randy Cross at County Stadium, Milwaukee. Atlanta on top 21-6, partly because of the work of this man.
Rod Dowhower, offensive coordinator for Atlanta. He's been in a few different places. Heck, he was the offensive coordinator on the UCLA football team back when I was there in 75, I guess, 74 and 75. He's a fine offensive coordinator. His his game plan is showing. He's the guy that's probably the most responsible for the kind of work and the kind of poise Hugh Millen's got in this game. He's got this quarterback, Hugh Millen, very ready to play.
Playing with a lot of poise and confidence, despite 4 sacks he suffered, none of which were really his fault at all. 15 of 19 passing the ball. Get some time here, has to go the release man Settle, and good coverage out there by John Anderson, the linebacker, number 59. They'll lose a couple of yards on the play. Back to the 20. Packers had good coverage downfield. They've got Van Jakes back in on the left corner. Mark Lee had replaced him, and then Lee was hurt earlier and re-injured that bad knee, and we haven't seen him since.
But John Anderson there, number 59, he's a good, steady linebacker. Plays the run well, plays the pass well, was right where he was supposed to be. He's not as flamboyant. He doesn't lead cheers like Tim Harris does, but he's a good, strong linebacker.
Millen flush. Settle gets away from Holland. John Settle all the way to the 41-yard line. Mark Murphy tripped him up, and had he not, he would have been in the end zone. 33-yard play. Nearly stopped again right at the line of scrimmage.
To this point, it looks like the Green Bay Packers might have read these statistics that said the Atlanta Falcons didn't have a very good offense. Nice move, little spin, little jump out of that one. He throws the ball, Settles, go, here, you can do it. Little spin on his avoids that tackle, sees the open inside, and then turns on the speed, and Mark Murphy comes over and saves a touchdown for the Packers.
That was Johnny Holland he victimized with that first fancy move, number 50. First down, Atlanta in Packer territory. Millen hit just as he released the football. Tim Harris got the hit on him. Now for another NFL update, let's go to Brent in New York.
Well, Tim, for Viking fans who are watching you all in the Twin Cities because the game is not sold out, they love this. Leo Lewis, 28 yards, 2 touchdown passes from Tommy Kramer, 17-3, and back to 10.
So the Vikings looking a little more back on track on top of Tampa Bay. Bucks coming off there, a happy victory last week. Second down, Atlanta in Packer territory at the 47-yard line. Settle cuts it inside. Got about 2 before he was stopped by Tiger Green. There's Chris Miller, Randy, who's doing his part today. Rod Dowhower has him signaling in the plays. He's been receiving them the first 3 weeks.
And if he could do that signal with his right arm like you just saw him do with his left arm, he'd probably be playing quarterback today.
That's right.
You know, this NFC Central Division used to be a 2-team race. You figured Chicago, Minnesota. Green Bay's off to a good start. Tampa Bay definitely a surprise. Minnesota hasn't been playing well to this point, so it's definitely up in the air. It's going to be a good year in this division.
On 3rd and 9, Settle will run it, and he gets only another yard. So the Green Bay Packers stop the Falcons on this drive, and they will have to punt. The Bears at 3-0, but have some serious injury problems now with Hampton and Dewerson and Wolford all hurt, and Tampa Bay at 2-1 off to a good start, trailing today to Minnesota. But you're right, Randy, this could be a fun division the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's another one of those divisions in the past, like the AFC West. Everybody says nobody has a good record. teams in the Central Division used to be 9-7, 10-6. Everybody said it must not be a strong division. It's plenty strong. These guys go out and play physical football. That's why they beat each other up so much.
Scott Fulhag will punt, and he'll hit it from the 45-yard line. Jeff Query lets that one bounce behind him, and it'll be down inside the 10. They'll spot it at about the 9-yard line. 34-yard punt.
34-yard punt.
Tim Ryan and Randy Cross here at County Stadium, Milwaukee. Atlanta on top 21-6. Next Saturday, college football from Death Valley, Virginia and Clemson. You been down there, Randy?
I've never been there, but I played with guys like Dwight Clark and Jim Stuckey who played down in Death Valley. I could never be that intimidated, though, by a stadium where you go and you pet the home team pets a rock at the top of the stairs there before they go down on the field. What's the deal on that little stone there? Everybody rubs their hand on and they go down on the field.
That must be the biggest pet rock in the country. Well, it's been working for Clemson. They're 4-1. Virginia's also 4-1. Should be fine. Mikowski deep downfield, a flag down, intended for Kemp to pass out of bounds. But let's see what the flag is all about. It was thrown with the passers on the with the receiver on his route. Bobby Butler had the coverage on Kemp.
Might have got a little bump in early, would be considering where they threw that flag.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 23. 5 yards. First down.
5-yard penalty against Butler for the illegal contact. And a first down for Green Bay. Well, the Redskins are coming back on the Saints, trailing by a point now in the fourth quarter. Cleveland and Denver, 13-6. And Pittsburgh ahead of the Lions, 10-3. There's that Minnesota-Tampa Bay score. First down from the 15-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. He fakes the draw. Mikowski throws it up for Sharper, makes a great catch. First down, Green Bay to the 46 of Atlanta. Sharp had stopped. The ball looked like it hung up in the wind, Randy, and then suddenly he had to go forward for the ball. Problem was he had Scott Case underneath him.
It's a nice adjustment to the ball by Sterling Sharp. Scott Case keeps him in the back pedal, goes and turns. He's running with him. I think if it wasn't being thrown into the wind, see, Case loses him a little bit there and slips and falls. Great adjustment there. Excuse me, by Sterling Sharp. I think the key there was he had the step on Case. If Mikowski hadn't been throwing the ball into this wind, he might have been able to hit Sterling Sharp in stride.
4 catches today for Sharp, up to 78 yards. And they're in Atlanta territory, but a timeout call by Green Bay.
Green Bay, their first timeout. This is a 40-second timeout.
So Mikowski apparently didn't see something, saw something he didn't like. And he's discussing that with Infante right now. Interesting talking to Lindy Infante about his defense. He really does leave that to Hank Bulla. He's an offensive guy, and he relies totally on his defensive coordinator. What are your thoughts about that? Because there are different theories about head coach's attitudes toward that.
Well, I think when you're talking about personnel, it's very important for a head coach to stay completely involved in all phases of the game. But on a day-to-day basis, no man can spread himself thin enough to be able to cover that much territory. Each coach, head coach usually has a specialty, whether it's a Bill Walsh on offense, Lindy Infante on offense, Marion Campbell on defense. They're smart enough to delegate it to the people that know as much about the other side of the ball as they do at their own side.
So Walsh left the defensive coordinators alone.
Oh, George Seifert ran the defense. There's no question.
First down, Green Bay. Sideline, that's complete to Herman Fontenot out of the backfield to the 35-yard line. And another Packer first down. So Green Bay with a drive going. Kevin Cooper made the tackle.
7-yard gain and a first down.
Well, we've got lots more action ahead here. Rams in San Francisco. What do you see happening there today?
Well, you know, the Rams with this new passing offense, Ernie Zampese, that Everett's really got clicking, could be a real challenge for the 49ers. The 49ers are a little beat up, especially in their safeties. Both Lott, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the strong safety, but he's Brooks is hurt also. so they could be a challenge.
First down. Mikowski, and that's complete to Kemp. Another Packer first down. Time winding down here in the third quarter, but Green Bay on the move to the 21 of Atlanta. 14-yard gain. You saw Anthony Dilweg on the sidelines a few moments ago signaling in to Mikowski. He has Blair Keel back with him now, too, as they re-sign Keel and have two extra quarterbacks. Dilweg, number 8 there, has been alternating the signaling in with Keel. And so that's the end of the third quarter with the score. The Atlanta Falcons 21, the Green Bay Packers 6. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross back here at County Stadium where the Packers are driving. And Mikowski lost control of the football. And play whistle dead. They are going to call that an incompleted pass or a grounding. And that I don't think was intentional grounding, so let's just make sure here. It should be an incompleted pass because he looked like he tried to throw the ball and then tried to hold it back. Let's see this again. It was a strange series of events.
Well, let's see. They outruled Stickham a while back. Goes to throw it. The ball never leaves his hand. It's like he tried to pull it back at the last second. And just to be safe, Mikowski says, well, I'm not going to let it go back there. Maybe he didn't catch the fact that I didn't mean to throw that.
It is just an incomplete pass. 2nd and 10. Well, now it looks like they're going to reconsider that play, perhaps. Let's see. Dick Cantak, the referee, is a discussion with Mikowski. I wonder if they're asking his opinion here. Do you suppose they're saying, hey, were you trying to throw that ball? Or
I highly doubt it. The only thing you usually hear from a referee is stand back, stand back.
Well, the replay booth is going to get involved here. Bill Swanson, replay official today, and I mean, it appeared to me that he did try to pull it back.
Clock to 10 seconds, please.
It did turn into a incompleted pass.
Well, here it is again. Goes to throw it. It's hard to see whether he just decided not to because it looked like he still had every intent of throwing it.
After further review, play stays as called incomplete pass. 2nd down.
Well, that'd certainly fall into the inconclusive category because how could you possibly know for sure? Taking a look at that.
They're only going to have 10 seconds to get this play off here because of the review.
2nd and 10. Ben Thomas, number 72, and he had a lot of help right behind him.
And the rest of the Atlanta Falcon defense.
Man, they all got there. Jesse Tuggle right behind him. Andre Bruce in on it.
They ran that play we've seen a couple times already using Hallstrom pulling out on this sweep. We saw Brent Fullwood run it earlier. I believe if he'd have come out around Hallstrom there, he might have been a little better off than meeting these 5, 6, 7, 8. Andre Bruce is, look at him on, and here comes, just Evan Cooper jumps on top of the pile. Remember Buck, the old game where you pile up on top of the guy's backs and at the last minute you break? Looks just like
that. Was for big guys like you to play.
Well, it was good enough for Bill Cosby, it's good enough for me. Yeah.
3rd down. Mikowski complete. Ball is loose. Sharp picks it up. Touchdown. Jeff Query was the man who made the catch. Took a hit, dropped the ball, and Sharp takes it into the end zone.
Sometime, somewhere on that sideline in the next couple minutes, Query is going to find Sterling Sharp and say, thank you, thank you, thank you. You just saved me. Mikowski throws the pass to Query. Query sees the opening. He's going for the goal line.
Tried to change hands.
Yep, tried to get the ball switched over. Bobby Butler came in and knocked it loose. Sharp very alertly picks it up and shows some of the strength he's beginning to be known for.
Yeah, I think we got to credit Dimry with that hit on Query, Randy, that knocked the ball loose. But Sharp was there to pick it up. A 17-yard gain and a fumble. And then Sharp taking it in. Chris Jackie with a point after. You talked about this guy's strength. He's certainly also very alert.
Well, he sees where the ball is. He goes after it. Query can't believe he dropped it. And Sharp goes, oh, what the heck? I'll just bring it on. He collects a couple of guys. He's got 3 guys, but he pulls them right into the end zone.
This NFL game summary is sponsored by Levi's 506 jeans. Cut a little fuller in the thigh for extra comfort.
Back here at County Stadium, where the Green Bay Packers have closed up the margin here with the Atlanta Falcons suddenly now facing the possibility of one of those big comebacks by Green Bay. 21-13, the Falcons lead it. Hugh Millen has had himself a fine day in relief of Chris Miller, but suddenly Magic Mikowski gets it going again.
I'd say the Green Bay defense has to prove right now that they can stop this Atlanta offense. They've been cheerleading, they've had a few sacks, but as of late, they have not done much against this Atlanta offense.
Well, now, with 13:50 to play in regulation time, they're definitely into that crunch period. Deion Sanders does not bring it out. There's a little scrap going on upfield, and they get that separated without any damage done, but some flags thrown. Now, my guess is we get offsetting personal fouls.
The dreaded offsetting foul.
And nothing more will happen, and they'll start playing from the 20.
The only purpose that always seems to serve is it gets the referee on TV. That's about it.
Oh. Dick Hantak is the man this time.
Personal foul. Kicking team. Personal foul. Receiving team. Penalties are offset. First down.
Let's have one more look at that touchdown by Sterling Sharp. Mikowski, good protection, throws the ball. Query has every intent in the world of coming in here and scoring. He figures it's wide open. Dimmery comes in, causes the fumble. Sterling Sharp's the man on the spot. Collects a few defenders, drags them into the end zone.
On first down, Settle from Millen.
Settle.
And another flag thrown here. So tempers starting to get a little frayed. Fralick involved in, not Fralick, Bob Nelson involved in it for the Packers, and it might have been Fralick on the other side of the ball. We'll wait and see how this one sorts out.
Personal foul. Defense 79. Personal foul. Offense 79. Penalties are offset.
Was Fralick. Hey, guess what? The penalties are offset. Pair of 79s didn't like each other's number. County Stadium in Milwaukee is the scene here on a bright sunny afternoon that could be summertime. Still in the 70s here on the 1st of October, and Green Bay coming back on Atlanta 21-13, but it is Atlanta ball. 2nd and 5 from their 25. Settle, met by the noseman Nelson.
Be careful, Mr. Nelson. That's a way to get another penalty on it.
Got maybe 3 on the play. Did Settle. Now they're going to call it a 4-yard pickup. It'll leave 3rd and a long 1 for Atlanta. That brings in Ralph Norwood, number 73. He's an extra blocker on the short yardage situation, and Guy Bingham also comes in, and they give extra blocking here on the 3rd and short. On the infield dirt near second base, just inside their own 30. Settle. And the Packers jam him up. He didn't get there. So a fired up Packer defensive front with help from the linebackers in the secondary. Everybody flowing to the ball. Let's see how they mark it. Tim Harris concerned that they might turn that into a first down with the spot of the ball. It will be close here, and probably will require a measurement. Evidently not. It is short. And Atlanta will punt. Scott Fulhag came over from Cincinnati. Of course, the regular punter Rick Donnelly hurt on injured reserve. Fulhag's been doing a good job for them. Query is back. Fulhag will punt into the wind. And it's a good one. Query from the 28. Got out to the 34-yard line. An adventuresome run for the rookie Jeff Query. Stopped by Jones. We'll be back. Tim Ryan with Randy Cross. 21-13 Atlanta lead, and the Falcons, no doubt, along with 54,000 fans in a sellout crowd, thinking about the comeback kids. Here's what's happened in the first 3 weeks for Green Bay. Now, they only have one victory to show for it, and that really is the bottom line. But they have really provided some entertainment in the second half in the first 3 weeks of this season. And now they're down 21-13. Mikowski, who is 15 of 30 on the date of this point, is 8 of 13 here in the second half so far. 11:40 to play. Pressure from Gann. Mikowski will run with it. Tripped up by Rady and falls over the 40-yard line for a gain of about 8 or 9, and Mikowski a little slow to get up. Jesse Tuggle finished him off, but it might have been Tuggle actually made that initial hit. It was Tuggle, not Rady. 58, not 59. There's Anthony Dilweg, the rookie from Duke, signaling in the next play. And
boy, linebackers love to see those quarterbacks out there running around free without any blockers, especially John Rady. Like I said earlier, he says, hey, this quarterback can put his head down. He'll try to run through you.
Second and a long yard. Fullwood will be close with the second effort. Ben Thomas and John Rady combining to stop him. There's John Rady, Boise State, Californian, Army brat.
He was bothered the last week or so with a pinched nerve in his neck, but seems to have recovered quite finally from that.
And they'll take a measurement on this one. Rady's one of those guys that just looks like a linebacker, period.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, it was a pleasant surprise for me. It's the first time I've met him non-professionally. Every other time I'd met him, he'd had this funny little bar in front of his face.
First down for the Packers.
Yeah, he made it sound like you guys had about a draw over the career.
I've never met anybody that played professional football that ever admitted to anything less.
First down, Green Bay. 44-yard line. And we've got the Rams and Randy's old team, the 49ers, coming up. An important battle in the NFC West.
First down.
49ers and the Rams both unbeaten at 3-0 in the early part of this season. Play action from Mikowski and off to Fullwood. Fullwood, about a 4-yard gain. Driven out by Gann and the linebacker Andre Bruce. 2nd and 5. Cleveland still leading Denver. Kansas City on top of Cincinnati. And look at what Houston's doing to Miami. Boy, those Dolphins really been taking their lumps. Pittsburgh on top of Detroit.
49-yard line, second and
Pittsburgh coming off their win over Minnesota, feeling pretty good about themselves after a bad start first couple of weeks. 2nd and 5. Reverse. Kemp gets a block. First down at the Atlanta 37-yard line. Clint Didier gave a nice block.
Hey, and even the quarterback, Don Mikowski, got in there and tried to make a block. This is the play of the old counter play. Everybody goes one way. Gives it to the running back. Running back gives it to the wide receiver. We're going to see Mikowski looking, and right there tries to get a block on Thomas. And right here just gets a little speed working. Look at them trying to make moves on everybody, and they just barely get a hand on them and drag them out of bounds.
7-yard line, first down.
So the Packers in Atlanta territory at the 37. Fontenot split wide to the right. Mikowski for Fontenot. He's got it. Touchdown. Yards. Mikowski wanted Fontenot all the way here, Randy, and he even had to wait for him to turn it upfield.
First, he had to get chased out of the pocket right here by Tim Green. Throws this one. I know he wanted Fontenot, but boy, that's a dangerous pass. He's lucky Herman Fontenot went up there and fought for the ball and went down and came down and got it.
Evan Cooper had the coverage. Jackie with a point after.
Cooper never turned around. He never looked at Herman Fontenot at any time.
We've got a 1-point game. The Packers doing their second half thing. 9:44 to go in the fourth.
Mikowski's getting chased out. Here, the ball's in the air. Evan Cooper turns around. Then he doesn't turn back around. He doesn't know where the ball is. Fontenot's the only guy looking at it. Makes a nice catch and stumbles into the end zone.
So it is 21-20. Lots of time left in the fourth. But most of the fans who came here to make a sellout in Milwaukee came today after the excitement provided by the Packers, even in the losing causes, particularly against the Rams last week.
And you saw Herman Fontenot there. What's your reward for making a great play and scoring the touchdown and putting 1 point behind? You get to go cover a kickoff, Herman. That's what you get to do.
All-purpose guy. Brought over to Green Bay by Lindy Infante, who had him in Cleveland and knew he was a quality player.
Green Bay does have the magic touch here in the third and fourth quarter.
Magic Mikowski at work again, so it's up to the Atlanta Falcons to shut this down, have a good offensive series of their own with Hugh Millen, who's been playing a fine game to this point. Now has got to finish it off for Atlanta. Jackie's kickoff. Deion Sanders. Prime time trying to get loose, and he's moving. Touchdown, Deion Sanders, but a flag down back inside the 30. 96 yards. They'll bring it back.
Holding, number 87 on the return. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Marion Campbell can't believe it. It's mistakes like that can drive a head coach absolutely crazy.
Watch for number 87, Gary Wilkins. Not sure we'll see that in the picture, but we'll see a beautiful run again.
From this point on, right here, it is all, let's have a race to the end zone. And I don't think there's anybody on either one of these teams that's going to keep up with Deion Sanders in a flat sprint like that.
So Atlanta will have to start back at their 18. Millen complete to Keith Jones for a first down. Falcons to the 29-yard line.
Jones on the reception.
You know, Tim, when you think about it, Mike Ken made a comment to us yesterday talking about how happy they were with the execution and the grasp of the offense so far that their offense has. He goes, this time last year, we didn't understand this offense quite as well as we do now. We're very, very confident in running it, and it's certainly starting to show today.
Well, and they had Hugh Millen through the entire training camp this year, too, so even though he hasn't been the starter, he knows it. Pass intended for Collins, incomplete. Deion Sanders has not appeared other than on the special team so far today. They thought they might get him some in the nickel, but Marion Campbell points out he's really only had about 7 real practices since coming over from the Yankee baseball situation. And they obviously plan on him playing a lot, but he's just not ready to be in that defensive secondary full time. They'll start him as a nickelback when they break him in. Hugh Millen on second down to the sideline, incomplete. Intended for Haynes, out of bounds.
Haynes, the intended receiver. 3rd and 10.
And what they were saying unanimously about Millen talking to the Falcons is that, as Chris Miller signals in the next play, is that he's tall, so he sees the field well. He's got a great arm, a strong arm. They rate it as good as Miller's. What he lacks is experience. This is his first NFL start. Collins cannot hold on. Double coverage there. Murphy and Van Jakes. And a fired up Mark Murphy has words with Collins.
Collins went up for the ball, and Mark Murphy stripped him of the ball and didn't allow him to catch it.
So the Packer defense does the job. Scott Fulhag will punt. His 6th of the day.
Well, this Packer defense really seems to feed off the offense. Their enthusiasm level seems to double when this offense led by Mikowski starts doing things.
Good point, Randy. That's exactly the way it's been going. Good rush on Fulhag. Still gets a good punt. Fair catch signaled by Query at the 29-yard line of Green Bay. 8:28 remaining. Atlanta with a 1-point margin. A 42-yard punt into the wind by Fulhag. Well, we told you about our doubleheader coming next. The Rams and the 49ers. Next Sunday's action will also be a doubleheader here on CBS Sports. The NFL today begins it at 12:30. Some of you will see the Giants at Philadelphia. Others will watch Dallas at Green Bay. And Chicago will be down at Tampa Bay against the Buccaneers. And then the doubleheader game will be these Atlanta Falcons against the LA Rams or the 49ers at New Orleans. And first down. Mikowski gets some time and he hits Woodside. Dropped by Jesse Tuggle after a gain of 7, maybe 8. The games are... Go ahead, Randy.
I'm sorry. This front 7 for the Atlanta Falcons seems to be getting a little worn down. They don't seem to be coming after Mikowski with quite the fire they were before.
Well, also, we haven't seen a great deal of their designated pass rusher, Marcus Cotton. But I think the real key to, as I have seen it, is that Tim Green has not been much of a factor. They've now got him lined up outside on the right side on 2nd and short. Fullwood. Green is in on that one along with Thomas and Rady, and it looks like they will be very close to first down here. They're signaling to move the sticks, so it's going to be a Green Bay first down. Fullwood helps up Evan Cooper.
Well, here's Don Mikowski's pattern so far for the last 3 weeks. Look at that on first down. You think Atlanta Falcons aren't aware of that? It's just a matter of being able to do something about it. You know, Marion Campbell says, we play a lot of zone with our defensive back. Well, I call it zone. It's really man-to-man, but I call it zone so our defensive backs don't get too nervous.
Yes, they really like the man-to-man style. That's when Campbell's and his players like it, too. Mikowski gets some time, and not a good pass. Intended for Woodside. Lost control of that one. Dilweg signaling in the next play. And Washington has moved in front of New Orleans in the 4th quarter by 2. Cleveland, Denver, that's a low-scoring battle there. Cincinnati now on top of Kansas City. Houston continues to hold a big margin over Miami. 2nd down. Woodside moves wide right. Kowski again with time. Complete to Kemp, and he holds on against a tough hit from Tim Gordon. First down, Packers. Atlanta 38.
From an end zone view here, we'll see Kemp will be coming out of the left. And Tim Gordon, after Kemp catches this ball, look at Gordon. He's zero ends on him right now. He knows he's going to hit him. Bam! And he lands in the end. He lands in the infield too. That makes it even worse.
38-yard line. First down.
Yeah, he'll come up with some dirt underneath his fingernails from that one.
And in his ears and in his hair.
First down, one setback. They give it to Fullwood. Fullwood for about 7 yards. Rady on the stop. Second and 4, 5:50 and counting down. Atlanta by a point. Green Bay with the ball in Falcon territory. Now Marion Campbell, whose forte is defense, will want to see his troops, a good defensive team, come up big on this series. Woodside. Looks like a first down. Rady on the tackle. Packer offensive line, Randy, is doing a good job now on the run as well as the pass.
That was just a very basic, give the ball to the halfback. Everybody man blocks up. Your fullback comes out and does a little lead block on the defensive back. You string it out, and as soon as Woodside saw an opening, he just took it.
Ball on the Falcons 27-yard line. First down.
Sellout crowd at County Stadium on this beautiful afternoon getting into this one. Fullwood for about 3. For the 25, maybe the 24-yard line with a spot. Tuggle and Casillas on the tackle, and some new troops come on the field here for second down.
There's a working man right there, Tony Casillas. Look at that uniform. He's filthy. He's soaking wet. He's been perspiring so much. Been fighting off linemen. Look at that. He's got the infield, those little raspberries on your elbow you get from the infield.
23-yard line. Second.
Galen Thaxton, an extra linebacker, and Marcus Cotton, number 51, in. Defensively for Atlanta. Pressure on Mikowski, gets it off, and that one is out of bounds, flag down. Mikowski throwing that one away. Maybe an interference call against Atlanta.
Holding, defense, number 93, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, it's a defensive holding call against Andre Bruce, the linebacker. 3:51 to play in regulation time, and the Packers are very patiently driving upfield here.
And that particular play was a good case where they got lucky. Mikowski finally got pressure from Tim Gordon and Marcus Cotton and threw the ball up, and Andre Bruce made a bad mistake. Bad time for a penalty. But this has been a very much a classic Green Bay drive over the last 3 or 4 weeks. They've shown this week in and week out. They're very patient. They take the running game and the short passing game, and the passing game turns into big plays.
Well, I find he's got to be pleased that his quarterback threw the ball away there on that occasion as well. Fullwood getting down to the 12. Tim Green and Jesse Tuggle stopping him, but not before a gain of about 3, maybe 4 yards. Closer to 5 with the spot of the ball. Fullwood has just been putting that hard charge on every carry. So even when he looks like he's getting maybe 3 or 4, he's getting 1 more than you think. He's now got 78 yards on 18 carries. Last week, Fullwood had 52 against the Rams. Forward again. Tripped up by Casillas. But a Packer first down inside the 10.
In this drive, in particular, this offensive line for the Green Bay Packers has taken control of the line of scrimmage and really been the difference. They've really been the difference.
Forward finally gets a breather here. I'm sure he'd just soon stay out there. They're getting down to that goal line territory.
We saw a quick shot there of Chris Jackie, the kicker. He's rooting for a touchdown here. He doesn't want to go down about a minute and have to kick a field goal.
He's got 2 today, the rookie, but you're right. He'd like to see it run into the end zone. A pass in there. 10th play of the drive. Atlanta, Mike Gann stopping Woodside after a gain of about a yard. And we've reached the 2-minute warning with the Packers 2nd and goal at about the 6-yard line. Milwaukee County Stadium, 2 minutes to play, regulation time. Atlanta by 1. Green Bay with 2 timeouts remaining. Atlanta has all of theirs. Marion Campbell has got to come up with some defensive magic on the part of his team. It is 2nd down and goal. The ball is just outside the 7-yard line of Atlanta.
2nd and 7.
Michael Haddix is in the Green Bay backfield with Woodside. That's Woodside shifting to the tailback position. Woodside running inside. Nowhere. Maybe a yard.
Woodside.
Ben Thomas. The initial contact. Number 72. And Atlanta has taken a timeout. They will have 2 more. Mikowski will talk to Infante. 1:53 to play. We'll be back in a moment. Tim Ryan and Randy Cross at County Stadium. There's your picture. 1:53 to play. Green Bay trailing by a point. They have a 3rd and goal. The ball just outside the 5. They have brought in Tony Mandarich at right tackle, number 77, and James Campen, an offensive lineman, will be out at the end position as an extra blocker, number 63. There's Mandarich. Whittier lines up on the wing outside of Campen. Mikowski rolling. Slides into the 4. They wanted to throw the ball there, I think, Randy, on that little rollout. But Mikowski either didn't see anybody open or played it safe to give themselves a shot at the field goal with 1:45 still to play.
That's right. He had a lead blocker out in front of him, and he was just running a little bootleg, and he was dragging the tight end deep into the corner. He wanted to flip it over the linebacker's head, but it was well covered by the Atlanta defense.
So Atlanta has 1 more timeout. The ball is inside the 5-yard line now, so Mikowski just got about a yard. But I would imagine that Infante said, look, don't throw that ball unless the guy is absolutely clear for you.
Oh, exactly. I mean, unless it's everybody else, unless you see 11 guys fall on their faces and your guy's the only guy standing, don't you dare throw that ball. Now we're going to see a kick here by Chris Jackie, and the unique situation here. We talk about the linebacker. I mean, the infield here. He starts on the dirt, and the ball is going to be placed right in between the dirt and the grass.
22-yarder for Jackie. No sweat for the rookie. Green Bay on top. So now Marion Campbell will have to have some instant offense. When our football programming is all completed today, after you've watched the Rams and 49ers, our usual fine evening of primetime programming on CBS. All he wanted was to put a couple of black kids on the neighborhood basketball team, but you don't do that in this neighborhood. That's tonight on CBS with 60 Minutes, followed by Murder, She Wrote, and the CBS Sunday movie, Night Walk, starring Robert Urich and Leslie Ann Downs. All ahead on CBS.
Well, Hugh Millen wanted a little seasoning and he wanted a little experience. He's got it. He's got 1 minute and 42 seconds left, and he's got to take his team down for a field goal to win this game.
Trying to become an exclamation point instead of a question mark.
That's right. He wants to bend over, erase part of the upper part of that question mark and straighten this thing out.
Well, those are his terms, and he is 19 of 27 when he gets the ball next. Jackie will kick it off. 276 yards and a touchdown, has not been intercepted. Good second 4 sacks, but we pointed out, they have not been his fault. Deion Sanders will not bring it out. Jackie, with the wind behind him, really nailed that kickoff and did not give Sanders another opportunity. A 96-yard kickoff return by Sanders, brought back by an illegal block the last time he had a chance. Now it's up to Millen.
It's up to Millen, and it's up to that offensive line to give him the protection, because with guys like Sean Collins, Stacey Bailey, Michael Haynes, Floyd Dixon, he's got the tools to do it. He's got the people at his disposal who can get out there and move him down the field.
.142 to play. Haynes wide right. Collins in the slot. Millen complete. That is Stacey Bailey, number 82. The 8-year veteran from San Jose State.
Daly made the catch.
In the hurry up from the 37-yard line. Harris on the quarterback, Millen. Throws it away, but it will be a sack this time. Atlanta timeout.
That was a clutch sack by Tim Harris. He gets inside on Mike Ken and comes right up into Millen's face. There's nothing he can do. He tries to dump it away, claiming that I was trying to throw a ball. He was clearly in the grasp and control of Tim Harris. Bang, bang, bang. Far be it from Tim to put on a little show there for the crowd.
5 sacks, 4 of them by Harris today. A flamboyant guy who can play a little bit of football. Atlanta's used their final timeout. Harris doing his cheerleading act now, and he gets the crowd involved. Intercepted or not? Inbounds. Evidently, Dave Brown. Yes.
This is a pass where maybe that experience that Millen does not have comes to show. It's a touch thing, wants to dump it over the receiver. There's Dave Brown, 15 years in the NFL, perfect position, good coverage, has the ball. But did he have the ball long enough when he had 2 hands on it to get both feet in?
Well, they rolled him inbounds.
Interception by Brown.
It was right there on the sideline. Another quick look at it. 1. And it looks like 2. And meanwhile, they were about to snap the ball out there. And maybe that replay has negated that next play in order to take a look at our replays, but we're not entirely sure here. 52 seconds remaining. Loss of a yard on the last play, which apparently is standing, so it's 2nd and 11. Packers have a deep safety man in Kemp, just in case anything goes awry here. 28 seconds. They'll just kneel down and use up the rest of this clock. And they have just drenched Lindy Infante with whatever that stuff is in those big barrels over there. The Green Bay Packers will watch the clock wind down, and they have pulled off a second comeback victory. From 14-6 down at halftime, the Green Bay Packers have come back to beat the Atlanta Falcons. So for Randy Cross, this is Tim Ryan saying so long from Milwaukee County Stadium, where the final score, the Green Bay Packers 23, Atlanta 21. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after these words from your local station.